Hey fellow skeptics, Lester the Skeptic Tank here. Just going to do hopefully not too long of an unboxing, because in all honesty, not sure how quickly I can get these on so I can use them. I normally don't do product reviews. I might do some game reviews, but those are thought pieces that might be time in the making, however much time they take. But real quickly, just going to see. I'm going to be brief. I'll likely add this into a greater video at some point, but for starters, I have a very particular set of feet. I would say admittedly small, yet they're wide, and having been raised barefoot for much of my life, I never found the right pair of shoes outside of Vibram 5 Fingers, and a quick inspiration for that is after reading the Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson. Although I have kind of moved on from that greater community, I don't mind reconnecting. It's just life happens and you change directions. But one thing that hasn't changed is finding the right pair of shoes. And for now, when it comes to the whole barefoot phenomenon, Vibrams do it for me, just because I think in a standard shoe, given that I do have small yet wide feet, don't know, haven't found the right ones. So I'm going to unveil what I ordered. There are other people who make use of that phenomenon. So this is Xero. Xero is another brand. So in quick listing of what's available, Vibram is the funky look pair of shoes. You have Merrell, MERRELL. Then you've got Vivo, VIVO. They call it Vivo Barefoot Revolution or something like that, or Vivo Barefoot. Now you've got the bigger names such as New Balance with their Minimus. I think it's Minimus line. And then the Nike has done their share. I know Skechers is kind of working off the Nike Free style, that whole line. Others may have done the same, but if you wanted to go into that barefoot mindset, or you want to get into that, I don't know if you call it a culture, but those who want to be minimal footwear, I came across Xero not too long ago, might have been a few years already, via Facebook posts. So I suppose I can get these on with the way the laces are. It's the thing with me and laces. I gotta undo it. I gotta really make the shoe nice and widely available for my wide feet. So here goes nothing. I will, like I said, probably a greater thought piece about comparing. I don't really do impulse reviews. I usually like to put them through their paces, no matter the product, before I really make an assessment or review. All right. Until next video, I gotta get going. Until next video, take it easy, guys. Peace. Hey, fellow skeptics. Lester the Skeptic Tank here. I think you have seen the unboxing of the pair of shoes. I actually was able to put them on. Took me a not terrible amount of effort. It's not exactly a slip-on. I mean, they do use laces. So I was able to use these from the moment I opened them and start putting them on until I came home around a little bit after 7:15 in the evening. So immediate thoughts, and usually, like I said, I'm not one for immediate reviews, but I think it didn't take much to break them in. Um, I normally try to wear, I think I'm going to wear these with not terribly thin socks, but I'm not going to wear them with thicker socks because, well, I do appreciate that the material here is pretty flexible. I also appreciated these were already laced. Now I don't know what you guys prefer in terms of lacing styles. I guess that's what I would use. I have seen numerous styles over the years growing up about how laces would be, uh, how shoes would be laced. I don't. I may do a walkthrough, but who'd be interested on the different ways of lacing shoes? If you guys want that discussion, as I usually say, feel free to leave it in the comments if you really want me to nerd out on lacing shoes. Now, semi-related, if I were to, because I'm in the Northwest, rains regularly. I won't say that these laces will break or they'll rip over time in a quick amount of time, but I always like to have a spare set of laces. What would you guys? What would you say? What kind of laces? What tech? I guess you could say what tech of the laces. This is your standard fair lace. I've had some other lace types that are you would find more on hikers. Whatever. I like going back to this. This really works with my white feet. I'm very much appreciative of that. Price wasn't terrible. They're pretty comparable to Merrell's. So Merrell is not exclusively minimal. They do have other shoe models. Like I have a pair from Merrell, which uses the interesting thing I'm finding out, or I have found out over the years. Vibram has some relationships with other brands. I think they had done the minimus. Let me see if I can snag my minimus. Hang on a second. So, ooh, wonder what that noise is coming from. What's creating that noise? Might have to take my shoes. I haven't done any shoe cleaning in years or decades. I would say decades, maybe 3 decades. Almost 3 decades, not quite. But it was a nice way to build up an allowance. Anyway, so I don't know if you can see it I can tell there's a light glaring. So this is the Vibram stamp on the sole. And as everyone knows, New Balance has had numerous shoe types. The main thing about New Balance is everybody would likely know they have sizes based on not only your typical shoe size but widths. So that was the one thing I appreciate about New Balance is that they do account for people with wide feet. This year is kind of like it. I'm realizing I really got to get close to my base shoe size, which ended up being, I can't believe I'm admitting this on YouTube, 6.5 men's. So this is just one of many. One reason would likely be you would go with this style or this format is, here it is. This is what I normally walk around in, unless I'm going to something formal or business casual. Well, depending on the event, I can get away with wearing these. Yeah, I'll get looks, but the reason why I've had my number of pairs over time since I've acquired Vibrams is because they're the only shoes hugging my feet. This is also the other thing about my particular situation is a lot of the stores don't carry 38 men's, which is the Euro-based sizing. Not many people, I don't know how many people, I don't know what the numbers are, but as you can tell, the layout of the feet, not everyone has that foot alignment, where some toes you would expect to be of this kind of length. One toe might be longer in a different area than expected. So that's why many people would opt for this. But I would still say if I want something to hug my feet, this is still the best, at least for me. Where, these, of course, super duper light. This isn't too bad. Not heavy, but I don't think it's terribly heavy. But as I was wearing it, I don't think I was compelled during my 5 hours, 7 hours I was at my friend's wearing this. I didn't feel like I needed to take it off to give my feet a breather. I might have thought about tightening it because it did feel a little loose. That's another thing I'm not really fond of in terms of shoelaces. This one, I haven't had a need. Maybe I will start tightening it, but I just got so used to treating these like your standard slip-ons. Put them on, just wrap it around your feet. Or I usually, as it's explained, you go toes first, and then you feed the toe pockets, and then you take the heel and you close off the wearing that way. It does create a little bit of a situation where you got to reach for the heel because when you feed in the toe pockets, it'll end up a little bit like this. That's just my experience. Mileage may vary. I'm very partial to this kind of sole because at least all the times I've worn this and then the original KSO. These might end up balding over time, but I haven't seen situations where there's a hole in the sole. That's where I'd see that. I'd see that in the original KSOs because the sole was made of a different texture. At least I think it is. So the only downside would be the other thing too about these is the intention is you'll feel stuff. Okay? The only other thing, having worn these for the number of years, is you're going to have to be mindful of your toenails a little bit more frequently than one would on average. Like, for me, my fingernails grow faster than my toenails. But it is something to keep in mind because the tendency, I guess it's a me problem, where the big toe, there will be a hole over time, whether that's because of the combination of probably not watching my toenail length and then the fact I'm in a rainy climate most of the time. We're almost getting there. It's about to hit October. That's kind of when Oregon's summer would quote technically end. That's been the number one tendency, at least for this model. This seems to last a lot longer than the KSO the original KSO sole, at least based on the models I've worn. The other thing that you might want to keep in mind, not every model will be as open, meaning that the one thing I've observed is, with depending on, I suppose, where you got it from the factory, the other consideration is this. For example, this one was very easy to slip on and get the fitting easily. There is a pair I tend to like just because of the shade of red it is, and believe it or not, I am only able to purchase those from people, at least on eBay. It kind of goes back to my whole 38 men's. They don't carry these in a lot of the everyday shoe stores. I have to get them off of eBay. At least that's what I found. And certain online retailers, the thing is with the online retailers, either they stop carrying that size or they stop carrying Vibrams altogether. At least that's been my experience. I've had the better luck on eBay, and as far as that goes, with my red colored ones, I'm only able to get those from Great Britain. Funny enough, but and it's probably the only shoe I'm willing to pay over $100 for. Anyway, and yes, for the curious, I do have standard shoes. Like I said, depending on the occasion, I have dress shoes. I have other weather purpose shoes, hikers, like I said. But just to kind of get an idea about these, because this is just one of the other names. I knew about them, like I said in my unboxing. I knew them for about a couple years by now. I have other people vouch for them, at least 2 people I know personally. Well, one in real life, the other I've known online for some years. And it was interesting when I kind of was, I don't know about vindicated being the word, but a lot of people wonder, why do you wear those kinds of shoes? What about the arch support? Blah, blah, blah. But having attended a workshop with the Sheehan family, Benedict and Maria Sheehan, they mentioned going with this kind of shoe. I forgot what their full explanation was, but I just go, okay, I got that covered. I don't know if it was something I overlooked, but this particular shoe has that green thing. It's not terrible, because I don't know how many people look at the back of the shoes. Like I said, I wasn't in too much pain. To get this out of the way. Lacing. I don't know, for those who grew up in the 90s. I wonder what it would like. I don't know if fat laces would fit. Yeah, I don't know. Although it would be kind of wild. But what I need to get out of the way. The most uncomfortable pairs of shoes I believe I've ever worn were often Nikes. Outside of the Nike Free, I think I was on version 2 at the time. And I appreciated it that it was pretty lightweight of a shoe. Not terribly heavy. But I have a collection of Nikes I might give back to some Nike store. I found out that the one in some part of town was officially closed down. Too bad. But I appreciate it. And I don't know what people's expectations are, because it's almost like, I don't know who does it, whether it's the person at the retail store, or the person at the factory or distributor. But sometimes I'm sure people have seen it where the laces are not even laced into the shoe. It's like it's usually laced in the first two sets of holes, and then it's all bundled up, and then you gotta lace it up yourself. Which, that's a fine therapeutic exercise, at least for me. I don't know what the rest of you would think. So I pretty much appreciate it. It allowed me to take them out of the box, put them on, allowed me to tighten them sufficiently on both shoes. So again, I don't know who does that, if it's retailers, the distributor, or even at the factory. I don't know if I want to waste the time to figure that out, but I do find it, because at the same time, like I said, some people want to lace their shoes in a specific pattern. I guess that's what I want to say. But no. This is, I think, as much as I appreciate my Vibrams being the most comfortable pairs of shoes I've worn, I might relegate them at some point to being indoor shoes. Because, in all honesty, like my friend Dr. Pepper once told me about shoes and what are you going to use them for, like what sports. When we were doing JKD, it was all about the indoor soccer shoes, as uncomfortable those were. I don't think I've ever came across a pair of indoor soccer shoes that were comfortable. Although these keep more in the spirit of me being closer to the ground. No, you're not going to feel what someone wearing Vibrams would feel on the ground. And so if you don't want to feel anything from the ground, or you don't want to feel connected, if you don't want to feel connected to the ground, yeah, maybe Vibrams are likely not your jam. So, especially since I've gotten to the training paradigms I've been trying to do over the last few years, maybe more, these are a better compromise. That way I don't have to worry. Because the thing with the Vibrams, I will have to be very specific in what movements I can do with my feet. Whereas with these, I don't have to worry too much about how I move my feet. Because sometimes if I'm not careful, if I do certain foot movements, I'm thinking there's a chance that the fabric in my Vibrams will rip. So I might end up relegating my Vibrams to, as much as I loved wearing them, and yeah, there's a little bit of a discussion with my parish priest at the time, and they drew attention, and yeah, and I do get the certain taglines, but I like having the option power. Just something about the different lines. Vivo barefoot, unless I'm wrong, Vivo is usually the one that's more on the expensive side. Xero and Merrill, they have different lines, as I showed you, New Balance. You would be able to find different pricing options. Because if I remember, I think Vivo's easily started at $125. Vibrams can vary, and that's the other reason why I like eBay, because depending on what I see in the photos, and thank God for good vendors and sellers who would do such a thing to help people know this is what you're going to get. So if I know what I'm going to get, I'll probably roll the dice. And I think I did that on one pair of Vibrams, where I go, okay, that doesn't look too bad. And yeah. And at least as far as eBay goes, they're probably the only venues, unless I'm lucky at an online venue, to locate the KSO Evos, which is the model of the gray pair of shoes. And the funny thing about me is I've collected my pairs of KSO Evos since I discovered that one. I forget how many years now. But I was very fortunate. I was gifted one for Easter out of nowhere. But I'm very appreciative of that community, and I got to go back one of these Sundays. So I might do it this Sunday. We'll see. But I hope I wasn't blabbering on too much, but this is just my impression about this shoe. Because the thing with me in shoes, like, I can never find the right combination. I often would find myself, especially growing up in a pretty much an immigrant family, and we're trying to make our way up the ladder in terms of survivability and what have you. I would inherit some of my dad's shoes because they would still look like they're intact, and as long as I can, and as long as I can do my movements and I don't fall out of the shoes or whatever, the shoes don't fall out of my feet, I was good. But at the same time, when I was being more cognizant of my movements, I realized I needed my shoes to fit. At the same time, I needed shoes that I can wear forever, as long as I can wear them without, screaming bloody murder in my mind about, oh my God, my feet need a break. So, can't complain. I might look for others, and yeah, like I said, I have other standard shoes. As much as I like minimal footwear, but it also leads me to really take stock of what shoes I want to keep in my, because my parents had gifted me different shoes over the years, and I'm, honestly, I've got my preferences. I'm often trying to learn how to not fear that idea of, I prefer this, but don't fear that. So until next time, guys, I appreciate you. As always, I would love a subscription if you want to follow on my next videos. Just keep in mind I do work a day job, so I try to find the earliest opportunity to shoot a video, and if I need to do some stitching or if I need to do some editing or whatever, I appreciate your understanding on that. But be on the lookout for another video. I think I was trying to do a gaming video. There was one game I was starting to play, and then I forgot to hit record. So, till next time, guys, peace out. Hopefully I get this one up later tonight. If not tonight, maybe tomorrow or Sunday. Depends on what mood I am in. Alright, peace out, all.